They say El Mencho is alive now. A new string of murders, ritualistic, filmed, and deliberate, has exploded online. 6 girls were executed, and the style and brutality of it all match his signature. He's back, but why now? And what for? Let's get into it. This is footage from a CJNG training camp in Michoacán, Mexico, that became the subject of an international investigation in July 2024. The investigation began when Mexican digital forensics site Contralinea reported that leaked video footage showing the execution of 6 teenage girls had gone viral across multiple social media platforms. There are some crimes so horrifying, so brazenly orchestrated, that they were never meant for public eyes, yet still end up online. What happened on a quiet back road in Michoacán should have been another ghost crime by the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. Quick, brutal, buried. But instead, it exploded across the internet like a firebomb. 6 dismembered bodies, all of them teenage girls, dumped in the middle of a village marketplace. And then came the footage, grainy, uncut, filmed on a cell phone by a cartel soldier and somehow leaked. The girls were kneeling, their faces swollen. Some had their school uniforms on. This wasn't just another message from El Mencho. It was a ritual execution, and it was broadcast like a snuff film. At the center of this storm is Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, known worldwide as El Mencho, the shadowy leader of CJNG, the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, now considered the most powerful drug empire in Mexico, according to DEA report. The question nobody can answer: why were these girls targeted at all? Because what's about to unravel isn't just a murder case. It's a blueprint, a literal manual of how cartels are evolving into hybrid military corporate entities. And it all begins with what R, a top CJNG lieutenant, accidentally admitted in a video clip that he never thought would go viral. This first episode uncovers how CJNG's latest murders, shocking, surgical, and film, are part of a coordinated shift in how terror is being monetized. And the biggest revelation: El Mencho may not be dead. There is something uniquely horrifying about watching someone walk into their death while believing they might be spared. That's what makes the latest CJNG murder clip so disturbing. 3 girls, visibly shivering. One of them blurts out, "Somos inocentes." "We are innocent." 2 cartel men off camera reply, "We'll see." According to Mexican digital forensics site Contralinea, the leaked video originated from a CJNG training camp in Aguila, Michoacán. That's just 45 minutes outside where the next FIFA World Cup match will be played. A global symbol of peace and unity, standing dangerously close to the most terrifying terror site in Mexico. They call it El Rancho del Silencio. Locals call it the Auschwitz of Michoacán. The name comes from something found in the dirt: shoes, hundreds of them buried in rows. At first, reporters thought they'd found a mass grave, but insiders now say what they uncovered was something far worse: a cartel boot camp for child soldiers. In a chilling interview, Johnny Mitchell, a podcaster and former cartel associate, revealed how CJNG recruiters target 16-year-olds on TikTok. They always have to train up new people, okay? They're always training up new recruits. And these are like 16-year-olds usually, okay, who they recruit on TikTok. That's how these girls ended up there, lured with promises of money and prestige. Some were allegedly told they'd be working in hospital logistics for CJNG, a euphemism for call centers used to track enemies via fake emergency hotline. Then they were stripped, their phones taken, their bodies cataloged and tested. They drug test everybody, Mitchell says. They take DNA samples like you're applying for Goldman Sachs. This isn't street-level crime anymore. This is corporate warfare, Mexican style. The footage spread faster than any cartel video in recent memory. Reddit, Telegram, TikTok, even clips on X reached 4 million views in a day. One of the reasons: the presence of an alleged American voice in the background of the execution video. It was barely audible, blurred under the sounds of a drone, but users online swear they heard a gringo accent saying, "Confirm she's the informant, finish the loop." And just like that, the internet caught fire with a horrifying theory. The girls were mistakenly killed because one of them was suspected of leaking cartel drone data to the DEA. This claim hasn't been confirmed, but it lines up disturbingly well with what CJNG operatives have confessed to in interviews. This is modern warfare. We use war technologies. We use drones. Now imagine what happens if one of those drones is intercepted mid-mission by an American agency. In a chilling coincidence, 2 DEA agents in Mexico were reassigned just days after the video leak. No statement was given, no reason was explained. One section of the guide reportedly categorized civilians into threat tiers. Tier 1 included rival cartel members, Tier 2, community leaders, social media influencers, journalists, and Tier 3, teenagers with reach. Why? Because a teenage TikTok star with 100,000 followers represents a risk if they mock CJNG. Several influencers have already vanished, some rumored to have been abducted from malls in Guadalajara and Zapopan. Their bodies never recovered. Their last posts all disappeared, but one of them, 17-year-old Marisol B., who vanished after uploading a skit about Mencho hiding in a hospital, left behind a chilling voice note sent to her cousin. They said, "I need to come to a meeting. I didn't even tag them. I swear I didn't mean anything. Tell Mama I'll be home by 9 o'clock. She never came home." Journalists at Insight Crime recently obtained encrypted chat logs from an internal CJNG Telegram group. The contents show the cartel isn't just punishing dissent, they're recruiting media managers. This isn't gangsterism, this is a full-blown propaganda department. And they've gotten so advanced, they even create decoy videos showing members helping old ladies with groceries or handing out toys, using them to crowd out the brutality in search algorithm. Remember when the Taliban got verified on Twitter? CJNG has influencer coordinators, and one of them, known online only as Babe PR, was just exposed by an independent security researcher on X for running a cartel-funded YouTube Shorts channel. CJNG's evolution into a digital war machine didn't happen overnight. It began with drone. This is modern warfare. We use war technology. We use drone. These drones, first used for surveillance, are now weaponized. According to a Vice News report, CJNG has outfitted quadcopters with homemade bombs rigged with smartphone timers and facial recognition apps. In the older narco world, women were mostly used for logistics, laundering, or relationships. That's changed. CJNG has now opened the door to female soldiers, but not voluntarily. A 2023 investigation by Millennial revealed that young women are now forced into roles ranging from tech support to bait. Some are trained in firearm assembly, others in interrogation, and some are trained in silent filming. That is, how to record executions without breathing, moving, or interrupting. Forced to hold the camera, watch, film, then edit. If they flinch, they're next. One former associate described it as death by internship. The work is unpaid, the risk's terminal, and when they're no longer useful, they disappear, just like the 6 girls in Michoacán. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Is El Mencho dead? Because if he is, the orders for the latest killings had to come from someone else. But if he's not, then this was Mencho's return message to the world. Here's what a high-level drug distributor once closely tied to El Chapo said: "We were arrested by the Mexican government and he was sent to rescue us. He showed up himself with 60, 70 armed cartel members." That was in 2007. Now, fast forward to 2024, and that same man says this: "No, I believe that he's still alive. I think that those conflicted reports are just, because he's been suffering from some sickness, and when the government doesn't hear about him or something, they could believe that he has passed. And just me understanding that world, I do believe that if he would have passed, his son probably would have cooperated and tried to save his own ass. That's the key. If El Mencho were dead, his son El Manito would likely flip to secure immunity or protection. But that hasn't happened. And even more telling, in the past year alone, over 200 CJNG killings have occurred under the same signature style: video, message, symbolism, and no deviation from protocol. It's as if the same hand is still scripting everything: a ghost, a general in exile, or a man who never left. You might think this is just another cartel horror story. It's not, because for the first time, a Mexican cartel is weaponizing the same tools used by influencers, marketers, and political campaigns. They know how to control perception, they know how to trend, they know how to disappear news cycles. And the murder, they're not just for power, they're for likes. Every bullet, every video, every dead girl. It's part of a strategy, not to destroy the government, but to replace it in the minds of people too scared to question authority and too exhausted to hope for help. Let's begin with what an ex-cartel operative told us when we asked him why nobody had captured El Mencho after more than a decade of open manhunt. He paused, smiled, and said, "You don't look for a man who's already been found." And when we asked who found him, the ones who paid for the manhunt. Let's rewind. In 2017, US authorities placed a $10 million bounty on El Mencho's head, one of the largest ever for a non-political figure. The DEA called him the most powerful drug trafficker alive. But according to former US operatives who spoke to journalist Keegan Hamilton at Vice, there was already suspicion that elements inside the Mexican government were deliberately sabotaging raids designed to capture Mencho. One DEA officer under anonymity revealed that a 2019 operation involving U.S. Marshals and Mexican Marines was shut down mid-flight by a leak. A source on the inside tipped off the cartel while agents were still in the air. By the time the boots hit the ground, Mencho was gone. In 2021, major outlets like Univision and El Universal reported that Mencho had died from renal failure and was secretly buried in rural Michoacán. That rumor conveniently surfaced just days before multiple CJNG family members were captured in Jalisco, and yet no body was ever shown, no funeral leaked, no confirmation ever came from the US government. Then something even stranger happened. The bounty stayed up. Why would the DEA keep a $10 million bounty on a dead man unless he wasn't dead? Let's be clear about something. CJNG doesn't act like a cartel, it acts like a military division. Former Special Forces instructor Jeff, who now runs a cartel expose channel, described the cartel as a shadow army and said the internal hierarchy of CJNG mirrors that of the Mexican armed forces right down to region heads, city captains, and platoon-style operation. This is cartel institutionalization. They recruit logistics specialists, drone pilots, accountants, code experts, and body disposal team, and they're testing AI models to automate reconnaissance. How do we know? Because last year, a CJNG-linked Telegram channel leaked a screenshot of a ChatGPT interface being used to write ransom note. If they're doing that with language, imagine what they're doing with facial recognition. Let's look at the pattern. When El Mencho supposedly died, something else quietly happened in parallel. Hundreds of Telegram channels, Reddit posts, and YouTube shorts related to CJNG vanished. And then a new breed of CJNG propaganda emerged. Cartel influencers riding ATVs and giving community tours, recruitment videos with upbeat music and catchy hashtags, videos from former members saying the group has gone legit. This wasn't just damage control, it was a full-scale rebrand. According to a 2024 investigation by Forbidden Stories, one of the media firms, Novania Studios, was once used by a governor's campaign office in Jalisco before being linked to a fake humanitarian charity created by Mencho's daughter. Despite claims from CJNG operatives that the victims were involved in betraying the cartel, investigators found no concrete evidence supporting these accusations. The girls' families, those who could be located, denied their daughters had any connection to cartel activities or law enforcement cooperation. As a result, Mexican authorities have opened multiple investigations into CJNG operations, though prosecutions remain difficult due to witness intimidation, and government corruption. The leaked footage sparked international outrage and renewed calls for stronger action against cartel violence in Mexico. The case remains active, with investigators continuing to track CJNG's expansion and operational evolution. What started as a leaked execution video has revealed a far more troubling reality. Modern cartels are no longer just criminal organizations. They're becoming shadow governments with their own military, media, and financial infrastructure that rivals legitimate state power. Now, before you leave, just don't forget to give this video a like, smash that subscribe button, and also ring that notification bell while you're down there.